I informed my boyfriend that I was considering returning to my ex without breaking up with him. So I proposed the idea of an open relationship. He reacted by throwing me out and blocking me everywhere. I'm a 28-year-old woman and I messed up. I know I did, but here I am in my studio apartment surrounded by boxes of my belongings, struggling to comprehend how quickly everything unraveled. I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend, whom I'll refer to as Dr. K, for 2 years. He's 31 and a neurosurgeon at one of the top hospitals in the city. I realize I was dating someone quite remarkable. I work as a software developer, earning a decent salary, but he's on a whole different level, not just financially. His penthouse apartment astonished me the first time I saw it, but it's not just about money. It's about how he excels in every important aspect. The issue is that our relationship had started to feel routine. He would come home after exhausting 16-hour surgeries, and we would have dinner, maybe watch a show, and enjoy some intimate moments. I'll admit, they were good moments before going to sleep. Weekends were better when he wasn't on call, but even then, we'd visit farmers markets, dine at nice restaurants, or take short trips to wine country. It was stable, secure, and maybe too safe. 3 weeks ago, I bumped into my ex at a coffee shop. Let's call him B. He was a bartender I dated 3 years ago, completely different from Dr. K, spontaneous and chaotic. He lived with 4 roommates and played guitar in a band that never took off. The relationship was a train wreck, to be honest, but seeing him again brought back memories of excitement and unpredictability. We talked for about 10 minutes. He looked good and still had that edge. He mentioned he was single and gave me his new number in case I wanted to reconnect. I should have thrown it away, but instead, I kept it for 2 weeks, unable to stop thinking about him and the thrill he brought. I realized how different my life felt with Dr. K, knowing exactly what our future would look like: suburban house, kids, him working long hours while I likely stayed home since his salary would far exceed mine. So, I convinced myself I was being mature, progressive, and honest. I would suggest an open relationship as something for both of us to explore. I practiced what I would say for days. Last night, I finally did it. He had just come home from a 12-hour surgery, and I made his favorite meal, rare steak with bourbon sauce. After he had eaten and showered, I waited until he was relaxed on the couch with a glass of wine and said, "We need to talk." He looked at me with those dark eyes, and something in his expression changed, as if he already knew. He nodded, set down his wine, and listened. I went through my rehearsed speech about how I loved him, how secure our relationship was, and how we might benefit from exploring an open relationship. I emphasized that it wasn't about wanting to be with someone else, but about personal growth and not wondering what if down the line. Looking back, mentioning that monogamy was a social construct was probably the worst thing I could have said to a man who told me loyalty was everything to him. He didn't interrupt. He just sat there, completely still, watching me dig my own grave. When I finished speaking, there was a silence. Then he quietly asked, "Do you already have someone in mind?" I regretted not lying. I thought honesty would help, so I told him I ran into my ex and that we hadn't done anything, but it made me think. He raised his hand, stood up, and put on his jacket. "Where are you going?" I asked. "Out," he replied. "I need to think." He left his keys on the counter, which should have been my first sign. I barely slept, checking my phone repeatedly, waiting for him to return so we could talk and work through this like adults. I thought he'd be upset, but that we could figure it out. Maybe he'd say no to the open relationship, and I would drop it, and we'd move on. The next morning, I went to work feeling anxious but hopeful, only to come home around 6 o'clock to find all my belongings packed up by the door. Every single item I had ever brought to his place, organized with surgical precision. My key card to the building didn't work, my calls went straight to voicemail, and texts didn't go through. I even tried calling from a coworker's phone, but he blocked that too. He must have blocked my entire company's phone system. When I went to the hospital, security informed me I was no longer on his visitor list. His colleagues, the ones I had thought were my friends, wouldn't return my calls either. I managed to reach Dr. Patel through a burner app, but she was cold. She told me they fully supported his decision and advised me not to contact any of them again. That was yesterday. I'm staying at a motel because I can't face my friends yet or admit what I did. I reached out to B, thinking maybe I could reconnect, but he responded with a laugh, saying, "That's rough. Good luck with that." It turns out he had just been messing with my head to see if I was still interested. He's been seeing someone for months. I ruined a 2-year relationship with a man who performed brain surgeries on children, donated half his salary to charity, rubbed my feet after long days, and remembered all the little details about my life. All for a fantasy about a bartender who couldn't even spell. Dr. K hasn't just cut me off. He has erased me from his life. No dramatic confrontation, no chance to explain, just gone. I don't even know what I'm asking for here. I know I messed up. I know there's no fixing this. I just needed to share how completely one can destroy their own life in just 30 minutes. Edit. For everyone asking, yes, I genuinely thought suggesting an open relationship while admitting I wanted to be with my ex was a good idea. Yes, I'm in therapy now, and no, I don't expect him to take me back. I'm just trying to process how I ruined my entire future for a guy who posts gym selfies with motivational quotes. Update 1 week later. I didn't expect my last post to gain so much attention. My messages are a mix of insults I probably deserve and others sharing their own mistakes, which I appreciate. Quick clarification. No, I'm not going to trap him with a pregnancy. What's wrong with some of you? No, I'm not going to fight for our love. That ship has not just sailed, it's been sunk. Here's what's happened in the past week. I found an apartment. It's a dump compared to where I was living, but it's what I can afford. Going from a penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows to a place where I can hear my neighbor's toilet flush is quite the adjustment. I tried reaching out to our mutual friends, the ones who are primarily his friends. They've made it clear where their loyalties lie. The few who are more my friends are trying to be supportive, but I can sense their judgment. One of them, let's call her M, actually said, "Girl, you had a neurosurgeon who was crazy about you, and you wanted to open the relationship for a bartender? Were you having a stroke?" The worst part is, I found out through M that Dr. K isn't even upset. He's not posting cryptic quotes on Instagram or burying himself in work. He's just living his life. M's husband works at the same hospital, and apparently, Dr. K only took 1 day off after our relationship fell apart, then returned as if nothing had happened. When someone asked about me, he simply said, "We're no longer together," and changed the subject. I ran into one of his colleagues at a Starbucks, Dr. Rodriguez, who used to be warm with me at hospital functions. This time, she looked right through me as if I were invisible. When I greeted her, she gave me a look, not angry, not disgusted, just disappointed, like I was a failed experiment. "He's doing well," she said, without me asking. Back to his normal routine. The children's wing is lucky to have him. He literally saves kids' lives, and I threw him away for what? For the memory of chaos? For a misguided idea of excitement? I've been going to therapy, and my therapist is trying to help me understand why I sabotaged myself. We're unpacking this need for chaos, this fear of stability. It turns out watching my parents' volatile relationship messed up my perception of love and stability. Calm feels like something is wrong, so when I had something good, stable, safe, and real with Dr. K, my mind decided it was time to burn it all down. Oh, and B, my ex, posted a story yesterday with his girlfriend. They're on vacation in Mexico, and she's gorgeous. In his story, he's teaching her how to surf, something he never wanted to do with me. I was just his late-night fling between bartending shifts. I cyberstalked Dr. K's Instagram. I know, it's pathetic. He hasn't posted anything new, but he hasn't deleted our pictures either. They remain like fossils of a relationship I destroyed. The last one was from 3 weeks before I ruined everything, where we were at a colleague's wedding, and I was laughing at something he whispered in my ear. He looked at me like I was the center of his universe. That man would have married me. I learned from M that he's been ring shopping, asking her husband about diamond cuts because he wanted to get it right. But I needed excitement, exploration, and to reconnect with myself. Well, I've reconnected, and it turns out myself is an idiot. To everyone who warned me in my last post that I'd regret this, you were right. To everyone who said he dodged a bullet, you were also right. He deserves someone who recognizes what they have when they have it. Someone who doesn't need chaos to feel alive. Real love isn't about butterflies and uncertainty. It's about choosing the same person every day, especially on the mundane days. I keep replaying that last conversation, the way he asked if I had someone in mind. He knew, of course he did. He's a brain surgeon. He can read people like books. He probably knew before I did, and instead of fighting or begging to change my mind, he just left quietly, like the adult he is. Meanwhile, I'm sleeping on a mattress on the floor, eating takeout from containers, and realizing that excitement tastes a lot like regret. Update 2, 3 weeks later. I wasn't going to update again, but something happened yesterday that made me realize I needed to share it for anyone thinking about blowing up their life for nostalgia. I was at a tech conference, the kind where they fly in speakers from everywhere. I had actually managed to pull myself together enough to present on a new AI project my team developed. For the first time since the breakup, I felt like myself professionally. The presentation went well, really well, standing ovation well. For an hour, I forgot about Dr. K, what I lost, and the studio apartment with the floor mattress. I was just good at my job again. Then at the networking mixer, I saw B, my ex, the bartender, the one I ruined my life for. He was working the event bar. Fate decided to make the joke complete. There he was pouring drinks for tech entrepreneurs, looking exactly the same. Still attractive, still charming. He saw me too, and did that little eyebrow raise that used to make my knees weak. He grinned and said, "Look at you." His tone was professional and detached. "Heard you were single again," he added, with a casual cruelty that implied David was the one who couldn't handle something, not me who destroyed everything. "Actually," I said, "I messed up the best thing in my life because I confused drama with passion." His face shifted, as if he had bitten into something sour. "You want a drink or not?" he asked. I got my wine and started to leave, but he called after me. "You know, you were more fun back then." There it was, the truth I had been too blind to see. To him, I was fun. To Dr. K, I was a partner. To B, I was a good time. To Dr. K, I was a future. I didn't respond. I just walked away and found a quiet corner to reflect on my choices. I realized B was exciting because he was unstable. Every interaction was a gamble. Would he show up? Would he cancel? That uncertainty felt like passion because my nervous system couldn't distinguish between excitement and anxiety. Dr. K was stable, so my broken brain interpreted that as boring. He showed up, called when he said he would, and carefully built a future with me, brick by brick. I had traded a partner for a fleeting thrill, a future for a memory, a man who saves lives for someone who couldn't even manage his finances. The conference ended, and as I packed my presentation materials, my phone buzzed. Jay sent me a photo from a hospital gala. Dr. K in a tuxedo, Dr. Chin in a stunning dress, both holding awards. Power Couple of the Year, her text read, complete with a heart emoji. I studied the photo. They looked like they belonged on a magazine cover. More than that, they looked balanced, equal. Two individuals who understood each other's worlds because they lived in the same one. He had found his equal. And good for him. The thing about consequences is that they can teach you, if you let them. I've learned that stability isn't boredom, it's peace. Real passion isn't uncertainty. It's choosing someone every day, even when the choice is easy. A partner who comes home to you every night is worth 1,000 exciting texts from someone who might not. Later that night, I received a text from B asking if I wanted to grab a drink for old time's sake. 3 months ago, I had destroyed my life for the chance of that text. Now, I deleted it without replying and went to bed on a real bed, with a frame and everything. Small victories. I'm dating again, slowly and cautiously. I went out with a guy from my climbing gym last week, an accountant with a stable job who owns his condo. He texts when he says he will. The old me would have found him boring. The new me sees consistency and effort. It's early and it might not go anywhere, but I'm different now. When he plans dates in advance, I don't see predictability. I see effort. When he sends good morning texts every day, I don't see routine. I see reliability. Dr. K saved lives with his hands. I write code that makes someone's job easier on a good day. We were never equals, but he never made me feel inferior. He just loved me steadily and consistently until I gave him a reason not to. So here's what I want to leave you with. If you have someone who chooses you every day and builds a future with you, that's not boring. That's rare and precious. If you're thinking the grass is greener with that ex who gave you butterflies, remember that butterflies are just anxiety dressed up nicely. Drama isn't passion, chaos isn't excitement, uncertainty isn't romance. Real love is quiet. It shows up, stays, builds, and chooses you even in the mundane moments. I had that, and I threw it away. Learn from my mistakes. Choose the one who stays. To Dr. K, who probably won't read this, thank you for 2 years of showing me what real love looks like. I'm sorry I was too broken to see it. I hope Dr. Chin knows what she has. I think she does. I hope you're happy, and I hope you forget my name. I hope our relationship becomes just a distant lesson in what you don't want in a partner. You deserved better, and you found better. Maybe someday, when I've done the work and healed the parts of me that equate chaos with love, I'll deserve better too. Until then, I'm just a girl in her studio apartment finally realizing that the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. The way Dr. K looked at me in Whole Foods, as if I were just someone he used to know, that was the real ending. Not with a bang or drama, just the quiet closing of a door I had locked from the inside. Goodbye, Reddit. Thanks for listening to my tragic story. I hope you make better choices than I did. Remember, boring is good. Stability and the one who stays is what truly matters. Peace out. Edit. Since some of you asked, yes, I'm still in therapy. Yes, I'm still working on myself. No, I haven't tried to reach out to Dr. K again. That chapter is closed. Some books you don't get to reread. Some endings you don't get to rewrite. You just learn, move forward, and try to become someone who wouldn't make the same mistake twice. To those who pointed out that I was the villain in this story, that's the point. Sometimes you're not the hero. Sometimes you're the mistake someone else learns from. That's my role in Dr. K's story, and I've made peace with it. Be better than me, that's all I've got. Thank you for sticking around until the end.